So we are going to start the show a little bit differently today because I want you to look at this image on the screen right now, which is the brand new poster for SummerSlam 2024, aka WWE Hot WrestleMania. Now, as you can see, we have the Bloodline. They're looking all cool. They're in a car. So does Cody's got his gloves on. They're also in an alleyway. How the hell are they going to turn that car around and get out of that damn thing? It's like that scene in Austin Powers. You remember? He gets in like the little truck thingamajig. He's in the corridor. He keeps going forward and he keeps going back. Now let's not pretend he don't look a little bit badass. I just want to tell you, I laughed my socks off and my feet were pretty much naked. Also, hello my friends, and welcome to Ups and Downs for Smackdown, as we are on the highway to hell, also known as SummerSlam or Hot WrestleMania, as I keep calling it. Let's not pretend that's not what WWE is going for at the moment. They want you to think SummerSlam is such a big deal that very soon it's gonna be a 2-night event. So are you ready? I am. Let's up those downs. We also had a big video reminding you of everything that did go down at Money in the Bank, and we saw Cody Rhodes arriving at the arena. So thank goodness for that. He ain't dead. Tiffany Stratton had also been the person to climb the ladder and grab the briefcase, so she decided to come out here first too. It was all like, hi, it's Tiffy time, and I miss Money in the Bank. She also had more facts to tell us as well, because she is now the youngest briefcase holder in history, although she's really mad at that Trish Stratus for trying to ruin her big occasion. So if you are interested, yep, I definitely think we're doing this at the Slam of the Summer. Tiffany then threatened everybody that does have a championship, including Roxanne Perez, and I always do appreciate that. When somebody does get hold of this inanimate object, it should be, man, if you are wearing a belt around your waist, at any given time, I could come in there and steal it from you. But of course, she also had said Bayley's name, so as per Wrestling Rule 14 point out came Bales. And she was actually quite impressed because Tiffany had been the favourite going in, so she lived up to the pressure. When Tiffany was like, why are you here? It's Tiffy time and not Bayley hour. That's pretty bad. That's pretty crap. I couldn't come up with anything funny. Now, the idea here was that Bayley was reminding everyone about when she won the Money in the Bank years ago, when she said to Stratton, ha ha ha, you probably weren't even watching WWE then. And look, that may as well be true, but that means nothing to me. If you're a good wrestler, I don't care if you're a fan or not, and if that was the reason to support someone, my word would be out the window. Stratton responded by saying, oh yeah, well you were probably just sat around with no friends. I was like, man, this Tiffany is such a good character. Because if anybody else had said that, they would have sounded like a right goober, but she's meant to be a dickhead, so it was totally fine. Bayley then promised that if Tiffany did try to cash in on her, she would be the first woman to fail during a cash-in, when out came Nia Jax. Now, at first I was like, nobody said your name, Nia. Although she had a good point too. She was like, excuse me, what am I, chopped liver? I've already got a shot of you, Bayley, at Hot WrestleMania, so don't worry about her, because I'm going to take your title. Bayley then reminded Nia this is not the same hugger from 2017, who, by the way, you injured at the time, when Jax talked about Bayley's ass. That's what happened. What do you want me to do? Lie? Make something up? Not be honest? Don't get mad at me, man. Get mad at WWE. That's what Nia Jax did. Ass. Because Jax is now super friends with Tiffany Stratton, Bayley tried to drive a wedge between them, like, oh, maybe she's gonna cash in. And I was like, I don't care about that. I like this Tiffy time now, and she's my own personal Barbie. Now, Stratton seemed to quite enjoy it. Been thinking about it all day. I don't think it was a compliment. Nia Jax then said at SummerSlam Bayley is gonna be the victim, because she's gonna victimize her and bring it down. It's the crime counter. If you don't believe me, go on the street today and find a lovely old woman called Jan and say, hello Jan, I'm going to victimize you, and then message me when you wind up in jail. Jax and Stratton, they were about to murk Bayley when of course Michin ran out with a kendo stick. And people keep saying, oh yeah, Michin said on site. This ain't on site. These people have been in the ring for ages. If anything, she was late. So of course it means there's a tag match we can do before SummerSlam, and I thought this was okay. The moment doesn't have much heat, so we do have to heat it up, but I'm still convinced that Nia Jax will win the title of SummerSlam because Tiffany Stratton helps her, and then you just have a wonderful dynamic where Nia is like, Tiff, you're not going to cash in on me, are you? And Tiff is like, of course not. I'm lying. It's nice that we are getting everybody involved. Giving it up. Byron Saxton was then chatting to Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and they were not happy. And Chelsea didn't want to have anything to do with him because she just wants to talk to Nick Aldis. Also, you should be impressed that I'm even stood here right now after what did happen at Money in the Bank. And she was even wearing a neck brace. Apparently people have been calling her the Mother of Mayhem since, and I was like, man, I didn't know that. So I'm gonna start calling her Mom, because of course Mother of Mayhem, when she went off to find the general manager. As a small spoiler, she totally failed. As Nia Jax and Michin just remained in the ring too, I think they just decided, why don't we have a match? Bayley and Tiffany were in their respective corners as well. So I was like, man, I can call this from a mile away. And I did. Even told my mum about it, she didn't care. Now, Michin tried to chop Nia Jax down, which was a terrible plan. However, she must have played the Arkham games, because as always, when Jax ran in, Michin just went nope, and she dodged her way out of the corner, me and Nia crashed and burned. Michin then tried to strangle Nia Jax, which made me laugh, but once again she went into team with the turnbuckle. This is when Michin decided, maybe if I hit you in the face a lot, eventually you will go down. But she didn't, she's a beast. My favourite part is that eventually Jax came back from all of this and just elbowed Michin in the face, and when she only got a 1-2, she was so mad at the referee. Like, are you kidding me? I hit one manoeuvre, that should be it. Given it wasn't though, she grabbed this woman and threw her into the ring apron. Listen, I did my research and I chatted to some people. That's the hardest part of the ring. Nia Jax then basically did a stink face, and I always enjoy that in wrestling when you go, how am I going to win this? Well, why don't I take my ass and just plunge it into that person's mouth? I suppose it could work. You'd be really embarrassed. Clearly, Tiffany Stratton was getting worried for her friend at this point, so she started casting distraction. But almost instantly, Bayley was like, nope, this ain't happening. And she threw her into Barry Barricade. And I was like, what the flub did Barry do to you? It didn't really affect things that much though, because even though Michin tried to go for the DDT, Nia Jax gave her Samoan drop, and she is Samoan, before she ended it with the Annihilator 1-2-3. Bayley still went after Nia afterwards, which was a terrible idea, because Tiffany then smashed her with the briefcase. But get this, after they had done a number of bails and Nia Jax was leaving the ring, Tiffy was like, oh my gosh, it's Tiffy time. She grabbed her briefcase, flubbed me sideways, she was going to cash it in. Now, the very last second, Jax saw this and said, you better not do it. But I quite enjoyed that. I didn't think we were going to get to the teasing so early, and the relationship is born. So I'm going to make a wild prediction here that Tiffany Stratton will be the champion before the end of 2025. While the match was okay, I really like the end part. Up. So Sikoa was then back in his dark room with his boys. Why hasn't he turned the light on? He wanted to talk about the fact that at one point the Bloodline were the world champions and the tag team champions before Roman Reigns went and screwed it all up because he became soft. This is why Sikoa had to take over as the head of the table and the new tribal chief, and while the brand new Bloodline is gonna get it all back. It's also because his brand new family understands aggression, where he basically said by the end of the evening, everybody is gonna acknowledge me. When you take that sentence out of context, what the flub is he talking about? Don't understand why there's a section of the audience that gets mad at Solo Sikoa. I think he's doing a great job. And as for these four, well, they come across as totally unhinged. Byron Saxton was then back after this because he was having a sit-down chat with Andrade, and he actually said, oh, hey, Mr. Tranquilo, a lot of people thought you stole the show in your ladder match over the weekend, but now they're asking, what's next? I was like, Byron, no one is doing this. Andrade did have a great showing, but we're happy to give him more than a week. Andrade just kept talking about his destiny, so he must be a big Activision fan. When Carmelo Hayes walked in, he was like, man, nobody wants to talk about you. They want to talk about me because I'm him. Andrade then claimed that it was the fans that had given him this honor. I was like, I have no idea what you two are talking about. When Hayes obviously spun this right around like he was Kylie Minogue, he's like, no, man, all the fans are saying, Andrade, is that you screwed me over at the pay-per-view premium live event. Put my hand up, I was like, just want to say, guys, I'm a fan. I have said none of these things. Carmelo then made sure to remind us that he had defeated Randy Orton and challenged Cody Rhodes basically his first few weeks, and that is important. And the long and the short of it is we do have a brand new feud. It's Andrade versus Hayes. When Andrade basically said that, oh, I have figured out what's next, and it is him. Let's face it, when these two do clash, probably gonna be pretty good. When we got Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews taking on Angel and Berto, and I'm just gonna tell you this, I thought it was really, really good. I'm just totally sold on this Baron and Apollo team because they are baby faces, and a few years ago we never would have saw that coming. And at one point, Baron was throwing Apollo onto people when Crews was like, well, why don't we do the other way? And Corbin ran towards the ropes. He just held them into Legado del Fantasma. I was like, oh my gosh, that could be the real most devastating move in all sports entertainment. The sound of the commercial break did sneak up on them, so Legado did get back into this. It was so easy to figure it out. I bet Berto had said to Baron, remember that time you were broke? And Corbin was like, man, I was broke, and WWE didn't push that character enough. Then he got murked. That'll do. Bert then made sure he busted out all the kicks, including a springboard version, when he also hit a kick that was super. And I was like, well, that's it. Nobody can get out of that. and you won't believe it, but Baron Corbin did. So he came flying back with a DVD when he realised that Apollo Crews' hand was basically steaming. So they did slap it together, and we got a hot tag, and it was just a nice reminder. You can forget about Apollo Crews, but you can't forget how good he is in the ring. What? And he hit 3 German suplexes when he knocked Berto to the floor. And Baron Corbin was so mad at Santos Escobar, who was being a right goober at ringside, he went out there and he floored him. Crews then started to do press slams, which was a massive mistake, because Elektra Lopez was like, oh wow, you're so impressive, Apollo. And I think she tried to get in the ring to tell him. The referee was like, oh, you naughty so-and-so, you're not allowed to do that. When Santos had taken his Phoenix down, he kneed Apollo Crews right in the face, and he was done. Because Garza was there and ready to hit the wing clipper, and he got the 1, 2, 3. Talk about a 2024 screw job. There is definite potential here with this team though, but we have to keep it going. Don't make them vanish again, like happens all of the time. I'm also just a big Baron Corbin fan. Like, what hasn't he done to this modern day? He can do any job that you do give him. Giving it up. Chelsea Green and Pretty Deadly were then queuing up to see Nick Aldis when they kind of fell out. I was like, guys, what are you doing? Pretty Deadly want to put on the Pretty Deadly musical or the PDM, and do you know who should have a starring role in that? Chelsea Green. So calm it down and get it together. LA Knight was already in there though, so he burst out and he had something to tell us when he turned to Chelsea and said, listen, it's gonna be a while. And honestly, Green was so happy she got an answer. She truly is the maximizer of minutes. We then saw Cody Rhodes sat in a locker room and he did look like a sad panda. I think Randy Orton must have heard about this because, like a nice older brother, he came and sat down next to him. Lovely. And he had heard everything that Solis and Coed had to say, so he said to Cody, listen, I know you don't want it, but you need people watching your back, and that's going to be me. It will be Kevin Owens as well, but he's not at the show tonight because he's off taking care of his family. So, of course, KO talked about this last week. Let's just send all the wishes and positive thoughts to the Steens. I hope she's doing a lot better. Orton then stirred the pot like crazy because he was like, listen, at one point the Bloodline will be done because everything ends, but people are still going to be coming after that championship. But don't worry, I will always be watching over like Batman. So we are so going to get this feud, I'd say within the next 6 to 8 months, and it's going to be so good. When you get into that history, well, light me up and call me Charlie. That feud is totally going to roar, as is one that we are getting a hot WrestleMania, because who came to the ring to confirm it? La Knight. Now, as always, he is just over like Rover, and he did talk about the Money in the Bank here, and he was like, listen, I'm not going to cry any tears, which he should have done, because we have those tears for a reason, but was I able to climb that ladder and grab the briefcase? No, I was not. As he told us beforehand, though, none of this matters in the grand scheme of things. There's only one thing he does want at SummerSlam, which is Logan Paul and the US Championship. And why don't we look at a little bit of footage? Oh, that's right. It's from those qualifying matches. And who did he pin for the 1, 2, 3? It was Logan Paul. So that is justification to him. He's right. It also means he's not doing a hello, sir, geese title shot. And this is why he had gone to Nick Aldis. He had shown him the evidence and bam. He has a contract to fight for that championship at Hot WrestleMania. It had 2 signatures on it as well, meaning Logan is the last one to sign, but because he is a massive asshat, he wasn't at the show this evening. But that's okay, because wrestling never ends. They do have another event in 7 days, so maybe Mr. Paul would like to turn up then. Logan then told us he's going to own Logan Paul and that championship, so I hope he has some papers for that, otherwise it is going to get complicated, as he basically shouted, yeah, and the crowd shouted, yeah, but let's face it, this match is going down in a few weeks. It really is time to coronate him as well, because this is another guy you can give anything to, and he just makes it click. Shouldn't have done the click, but it's getting enough. Like it was just a 5-minute promo, but it was so damn entertaining. When we found out that Naomi was going to compete on this show this evening, which was kind of impressive given that she'd almost killed herself in Money in the Bank, and she was taking on Blair Davenport, and I was like, what are we going to do here? Now, Naomi did whip Davenport across the ring when Blair came back with a shoulder tackle, when we went all Matrix, because Blair tried to hit her with a clothesline and Naomi did that back thingamajig. Really is very impressive. Blair felt offended by this, I suppose, so she came back with the bloody bows, and that rhymes, so there must have been some truth in it, when Naomi essentially hit her with that booty attack. I don't know how else to say it, she used the booty. She followed up with a big leg drop for a 1-2. What did Davenport do? He just threw her into the ring post. And at one point in the future, this has to result in a disqualification, because as far as I know, Rita is made of steel. It must have hurt her arm because Blair Davenport went right into an armbar. So what did Naomi do? She took her foot and she booted this person right in the head. That'll do. So they hit the headlock driver for another 1-2-0, and even though Blair Davenport tried to win with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up, Naomi was just like, nah, I don't want to do that. She kneed her right in the skull when she hit the sit-out powerbomb thingamajig, and she got the 1-2-3. I was like, what else she did it? Now this does rule for Naomi, and if all these rumors about a brand new Intercontinental Championship or US title for the women is true, she should absolutely be a contender. And I was just pleased that she got a win on a relatively big show. Up. However, I am a little bit worried about Blair Davenport, although there is some good news in around about 35 seconds, because she feels like one of these people that did get called up from NXT, and we haven't had a solid plan. As we learn, if you don't have a solid plan, you vanish from existence like Kalani James. So I am going to give it a down, but that is just me trying to manifest that it is headed in the opposite direction, and I'm too stupid to realize. I think I just said Kalani James. I meant Kiana James. There's too many Jameses. However, right after this, we were in the back, and Naomi did bump into Blair, and Davenport was like, it does a good job, my fellow soldier, and she walked off when Naomi saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, and they all partied down. I mean, they're friends. Chelsea must have heard this because she came barging out of Nick Aldis' locker room, and she was so mad because he's not there, which is when Davenport just returned from the Phantom Zone, and she beat up Naomi. So her plan was this: well, if I pretend to be respectful, she will believe I am a nice guy for 10 seconds when I will attack. This is why I love wrestling. When we did get a repeat of last week, because it was DIY defending their brand new tag team titles against the former champs Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and I was convinced, because I am a nerd, I was like, oh, this is the evening when A-Town Down Under will break up. And that was kind of true. I mean, at one point, they basically booted each other right in the face, but actually we couldn't get to a breakup, for you will see. Now, thankfully, once again, the bad guys did have a commercial break, so they were able to take over. Man, did I get mad. Austin Theory went for a double axe handle, and I was like, you damn right, 80s moves for life. And what did this Tommaso Ciampa do? He kneed Austin out of midair. I was like, Ciampa, do you not understand what we're trying to achieve? Would you please think about the greater good? Johnny Gargano followed as he hit an Insuguri and that awesome springboard spear for a 1-2-0. When he tagged Ciampa back in, they did a double Irish whip. I don't know why this made me laugh. Like, we see teams do it all of the time, but even though they followed it with a maneuver, their first move was to do a move that most wrestlers can do if you're by yourself, but if you do invite your partner into the ring, you will do it as a pair. Somebody answer me that. Grayson was then able to reverse the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment into a flatliner when Austin Theory was mocking DIY. I was like, can we all get everybody together in a room, please? How many times do I have to tell you? In 2024, do not abuse the D-pad where you steal somebody else's taunt, because at the moment, there is a 100% success rate that's going to turn around and you're going to be beat. Exhibit A. Because Ciampa felt this had happened, he got out of the way, he tagged in Johnny Gargano, they hit the Shatter Machine, and they hit the meat in the middle, and they just beat him. And I was like, well, Grayson and Austin, I hope you're happy now, you just have to do somebody else's pose. Now the actual best part of this is that just as we teased that maybe something was going to go down, Jacob Fatu ran to the ring, and I tell you, he murdered these guys, and this hip attack and catching Samoan drop he did, well, I'm exaggerating, but I also kind of mean it, I think it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. He also just headbutted everybody when he did a springboard double jump moonsault. And I was like, what can't he do? He is so damn good, and he is so going to have a match with Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes one day, and I am going to do the dance of joy. But look, the match was great. This may have been even better. Don't know what's happening to my words. I'm shutting down. I sound like a robot. The match was great, but I tell you what is happening. It's getting it up. Given that he was already in the ring too, he told the Bloodline to get out here as well. So he came Solo Sikoa and his boys. Solo then told everybody to acknowledge him and reminded what happens if you don't. I mean, Jimmy Uso, he got killed. Paul Heyman, he got killed. And if Roman Reigns ever wants to come back and he doesn't acknowledge him, well, you can figure this out. He's definitely going to be killed. He doesn't want to get ahead of himself, though, so let's focus tonight on Cody Rhodes, because that's right, Mr. American Nightmare, if that is your real name, why don't you come out here and acknowledge me? Solo, are you serious? Do you think Cody is going to come out there and acknowledge you, or do you think he's going to punch you right in the face? It's this one. As his name had been said, as per Wrestling Rule 14.8, Cody did come out. And imagine he did just go, oh, hi, I do acknowledge you. And he didn't. He said, listen, you did beat me at Money in the Bank. Therefore, it's on, my friend, at SummerSlam. It is going to be me versus you for the WWE title. But I tell you this, if I was properly in control, I would kick your ass right now. Now, this was a really silly thing to say because the Bloodline then surrounded him like wolves. But bless this Cody, he actually tried to hit one of them with a crossroads. Guess what happened? He had not done his wrestling maths. It was 4-on-1, and he got murdered. Now, the lariat that Jacob Fatu hit him with once again was absolutely amazing. And by this stage, finally, Randy Orton came out there to try and help. And look, he did all right for about 32 seconds, but he also hadn't done the equations. There's still only 2 of you. So surprise, surprise, it was Jacob that was able to take out everybody with all these headbutts when they took Cody and they tied him up in the ropes and was like, ha ha, watch what we're going to do to your friend. And I tell you, Randy Orton got absolutely stabbed. I mean, Jacob Fatu hit him with 3 super kicks, or kicks that were super, when they picked up Orton and they shield powerbombed him through Adam the announce table. Then Solo had his thumb, he was just thumbing everybody. Sounds weird out of context, but he was doing it, and apparently it's like death. We also mentioned the Bloodline hit Randy with Simba the Still Step, so he may be out with a while, where Solo just shouted, "This is all your fault, Cody." I was like, man, somebody needs to teach him about how responsibility works. I'm literally watching this, Sokoa. It's definitely your fault. It also meant we ended SmackDown by taking the Eula Fowler and putting it around Solo's head as they all did the Bloodline salute. Because at least when it comes to these 3 insane people, they acknowledge Mr. Sokoa. So you have to imagine that probably at the end of SummerSlam, Roman Reigns is going to come back to the biggest of all modern day pops. This is hilarious. He's a babyface and he hasn't done anything. And the last time we saw him, he was still an emotional manipulator. But apparently now, we're all cool with it. We're like, oh, hi, he is back. But I will feel the same. I cannot wait. It is going to be an event. And all this is doing pretty good build. Let's get it up. So essentially we've all got Stockholm Syndrome now, but I guess that does happen. And once again, this was another good episode of SmackDown. Like, it hasn't been as trailblazing as some of them, but they have their stories. They're on the right path. It's getting it up. Now, of course, please do let me know your thoughts about SmackDown by dropping me a comment below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Just go tell somebody to watch Ups and Downs today. And you can watch my Ups and Downs for AEW Dynamite that is on the screen. But have a great weekend, my friends. I will see you soon.